The Lee County Board of County Commissioners Comprehensive Plan Amendment and Zoning here will commence. It's Wednesday, January 20th, 2021, 9:30. If we could stand for the pledge, please. Appreciate it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Morning. For the record, Anthony Rodriguez, Principal Planner with the Zoning Section of the Department of Community Development. First case this morning is a Lee Plan Text and Map Amendment CPA 2020-00001 and CPA 2020-00002. This is a privately initiated map and text amendment to amend the future land use map designation of the subject property from suboutlying suburban to outlying suburban, and to amend Lee Plan Table Map 1B to provide additional residential development in the outlying suburban future land use category within the Fort Myers Shores planning community. The subject property is a 345-acre parcel generally located on the east side of Buckingham Road, approximately 1 1/4 miles south of Palm Beach Boulevard. The requested amendment, if approved or if adopted, would increase the maximum standard density of the property from 2 dwelling units per acre to 3 dwelling units per acre, which would equate to a potential increase of 345 dwelling units on the subject property. The proposed amendments are consistent with the Lee Plan, in particular goals 17 and 21, policies 5.1.5, 20.1.6, and 21.1.3. The LPA considered this particular amendment at a public hearing on December 7, 2020, and recommended unanimously that the board transmit the proposed amendment to the state reviewing agencies. Therefore, staff of the LPA both recommend that the board transmit CPA 2020-00001 and CPA 2020-00002 as provided in Attachment 1. The applicant is here. Staff is here to answer any questions.
Yes, sir.
I'm looking at the staff report on page 6, and I've seen this in the past on several occasions, and that helped me understand one more time. It's the second, third short paragraphs, and they're talking about 5-year analysis indicates Buckingham Road from State Road 80 to Orange River Boulevard is protected to operate at a level of service F with and without this project. And the next little paragraph repeats the same thing with a different section of road, level of service F. Make me understand level of service F. I mean, I thought that's like failing or not good. It's not what you hope for.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Can we have Mr. Loveland address that?
Sure.
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Mann, you're correct. Level service F is considered failure for the roadway. E is at capacity, F is failure.
So why do we bother to put it in here if we're getting a staff recommendation to proceed, and I don't know that I didn't catch if it made some special exception, or we're going to deal with that later, or how are we going to correct that? It just doesn't matter that it's level of service F. That's how I conclude. Help me.
Well, the analysis indicated the roadway failure is with or without this project. So the project is not causing the failure.
It's only exacerbating it.
Correct, if it's not improved. The 4-laning of that section of Buckingham Road from Orange River Drive up to Orange River Boulevard up to State Road 80 is on the board's priority list. It's currently in Tier 3, I believe, so it's viewed as a farther out. This roadway has been identified in the concurrency report as a projected failure, not an existing failure, for a couple of years because of the presumed traffic from approved but not yet built developments along here that are now actually starting to build out. So,
you mentioned concurrency. Remind me, that seems to have lost its relevancy in recent years.
For transportation, for traffic, it has. The state has removed it as a required issue in terms of being a determinant as to whether you can approve building permits based on the traffic conditions. It's optional. In county's case, we have not exercised that option, so from a concurrency standpoint, we don't use that as a basis for denying development permits.
Okay. Perhaps, is the applicant want to speak? We're about to find out. Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Yeah, we'll have the applicant do his presentation.
Tina, help me. Ta-da. Good morning, Mr. Commissioners. I'm Steve Hartzell with Pavis Law Firm. I'm here on behalf of Lee County Homes Associates, which is an affiliated entity of GL Homes Florida, a name with which you may be more familiar. We're here today with regard to the comp plan amendment and text amendment that relates to the Buckingham 345 residential plan development. That was first approved in 2000 and then later amended in 2005. As Anthony pointed out, today's amendments are proposed for the purpose of changing the existing sub-outlying suburban at 2 units per acre to outlying suburban, a slight increase of 1 unit per acre. We have the team here with a full presentation if that's your desire. Staff and the LPA both recommended transmittal. We're happy to do the full presentation. If you would rather a response to particular questions, we are happy to do it that way as well. With me today is Kevin Rattery, who is the Vice President of GL Homes. John Asher is our Project Manager. Tina Ekblad, our Planning Manager. Morris DePue is here, as well as Ted Treesh of TR Transportation, who can answer transportation questions. So we are at your disposal. If there's a particular question, we're happy to answer that, or I will start the whole presentation.
Chairman, if I could, Steve, if you just maybe one question. I'm comfortable with everything. I'm just curious about for improvements for future development, what road improvements would be included, and how much would be paid towards those improvements from this development.
In terms of road improvements, there aren't any specific road improvements that are associated with this particular project. As Mr. Loveland pointed out, the 3 roads that are pointed out as requiring widening are already required for widening at this stage. Right now, what would happen is this project, just like every other project, would pay impact fees associated with the development. Right now, the road impact fees associated with what we have proposed would be about $5.3 million in road impact fees. And that's at the 55%. The 100% level would be something over $10 million for road impact fees. In addition to that, obviously, are the gas taxes associated with it and the growth increment funding that would come from the increased property values associated with this project would then be put into the road improvements out there. And that's essentially how we pay for improving roads as they degrade when growth comes into an area and has impacts on the roads. This project will pay its fair share of road improvements, the same as other adjoining and neighboring projects will pay their fair share as well. That money goes into the county, and the county uses those funds then to improve the roads.
That's why I had a feeling you would know that the impact fee total around $5.5 million towards that within this district that would go towards from this project. So,
yes.
Thank you.
And in addition, this project has also committed to providing 20 feet of right-of-way along Buckingham Road as well. That's part of the zoning requirement.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could add one further clarification, they would also be responsible for any site-related improvements at their entrances onto Buckingham Road, turn lanes, and that sort of thing.
That's what I was referring to, the turn lanes and the entrances.
Right. And that would be determined at the development order stage.
This requested plan amendment is submitted concurrently with the residential plan development amendment for this project. We're required to get this planned development as part of the plan amendment as well. So what you're looking at today is really the first step. We're asking for transmittal. After transmittal, we can then go to the hearing examiner, where we will have to demonstrate that we meet all of the county requirements with regard to urban services and everything. That recommendation will then come back to you at the same time as the adoption request. So this is really your first look at it. There'll be a second chance for you to look at it along with the plan development zoning.
Any other? Yes.
Mr. Hartzell, one follow-up to an earlier comment you made in describing the 1 unit increase as a modest or a fairly modest, I forgot what term you used for it, but the existing allowance is like 2 units. This will take it to 3. Another way of mathematically looking at that, that's a 50% increase for your modest increase. Do you disagree with that math?
That is true. When you are at the very, very low end of density, if you look at a 1 unit per acre density, that's the low end of your density. If you take it to 2 units per acre, that would be 100% increase.
Good.
So
Okay,
if you look at it percentage-wise, you can look at it that way.
But since we're not going to 10, you feel good about this? Yes.
Understand.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I move the item.
I'll second the motion. We need public
Comment. I have a motion, a second. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment.
One last question. The zoning application has not been made. It's not being heard today. This is a transmittal of the comp plan, and you'll be back to see us on, and perhaps on that stage we'll talk more about the density.
Yes, sir, I'm sure.
What a guy. What a guy. Thank you so much.
Correct. Any other discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Thanks,
It
Brent.
carries. Absolutely.
Okay, next case this morning is an adoption hearing. CPA 2020-00003, Inspiration at South Point. This is a request to amend Plan Map 1, page 6, to extend the mixed-use overlay over approximately 15 acres located on the north side of College Parkway. The board voted to transmit this amendment to the state reviewing agencies back in October of 2020. There were no objections received from the state reviewing agencies as part of that review. The proposed amendment is consistent with the Lee Plan. Therefore, staff recommends that the board adopt the proposed amendments as shown in Attachment 1. Staff is here to answer any questions.
Any questions? No?
I move the item, the adoption.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Any objections? Motion carries.
Okay. The next case this morning is a companion rezoning case, REZ 2020-00004, again, Inspiration at South Point. This is a request to rezone approximately 13.35 acres from agricultural, AG2, and mixed-use plan development, MPD, to commercial, C2. The hearing examiner recommended approval of the request, and there were no participants of record on this case. Again, staff is here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Somebody doesn't recognize this property. This is the agriculture. Used to be a produce stand. Goat farm had many uses over the years, and growing up in the area of Whiskey Creek and College Parkway, it changed, but we knew over years, after the last 30 years, it was going to change within the surrounding areas, though. So this is that change we all knew was going to occur over the years, but this is historical parcel. It was still produce, and it was basically set vacant the last 3 years. I guess it was they had closed down the produce store just for history reasons. I move the item through unless there's any questions or anything, or the staff has any presentations.
I'll second your motion, Commissioner Pendergrass.
Jenna Persons on behalf of the applicant, but I just wanted to follow up on Commissioner Pendergrass's comments that we've lovingly known this property as the goat farm for many years, and it's been in the same family for many decades. So I just wanted to recognize that we do have, on behalf of the owners here today, T. Rake and Terry Jr., and we're excited to see this property move forward and the mixed-use infill development take place. Thank you. And we are in full agreement with the hearing examiner's recommendation and appreciate a vote of approval on this project. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries. TPC.
Okay. Last case this morning is case number DCI 2020-00006, Lehigh Acres Park and Ride. This is a request to amend the Village on the Lake development, which is presently zoned Residential Plan Development, RPD, and Community Facilities Plan Development, CFPD, to allow a parking lot, a park and ride, and a bus station depot use on an approximately 3-acre site on the south side of Village Lakes Boulevard. The hearing examiner recommended approval with conditions. In the recommendation of approval, the hearing examiner recognized that there were no property development regulations to govern this development. The hearing examiner noted that if the applicant and staff could come to an agreement with property development regulations, that the hearing examiner would have no objection to that. The staff and the applicant had conferred and prepared property development regulations, and they are attached to your packet this morning, so staff would respectfully ask that any recommendation of approval please include those property development regulations. Staff is here to answer any questions you might have. The applicant is also here.
Mr. Chairman, I will move approval of the motion as outlined by our staff this morning.
Motion on the floor.
See if the district commissioner wants to say anything, though.
No, sounds like a good idea. I'd second it.
Okay.
With just a clarification, that this is a county project. Yes.
I like the applicant. I think
Yeah,
I'll vouch for him.
their moral character and all of the above. Yes, certainly. I feel better now to clarify that.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. That'll conclude our zoning hearing.